Isaac pulls an Abraham and tells everybody that Rebecca is his fucking sister. It's not even the first time that they've done it to Abimelech.
But Abimelech's been chill, man.
Ahuzath.
Sounds like someone saying something when they just burnt the roof. They have hot, something really hot.
Symbolism of 7 in the Bible.
Completeness, I think.
Perfection and completeness. Yep.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
Good job, Jack.
Felt good about that one.
Yeah.
I think when a lot of people imagine greatness, they imagine the end result and not all of the little micro steps it takes to get to that. I want to be great, and I am afraid of that.
What part are you afraid of?
I don't know. That's like...
You don't know about yourself.
I understand that it's going to be... I'm going to have to do all these steps.
You get it.
I get it. I will be doing the work for the rest of my life in one way or another, and I've accepted that.
Biblecast. Okay. So, yes, two stories, because the first one isn't insignificant, but it's short, and it's a long book. We've got to start clumping some of these together. Okay. Otherwise, we're going to be doing this until we're like 75.
To our Abraham's age.
To our, 900. A ripe old age of 984. So first story is Isaac and Abimelech. So Abimelech's making a comeback into the fray.
And for reference, Abimelech is...
He's a king, Philistinian king that Abraham interacted with in the past. One of the kings that he brought Sarah to his city and was like, this is my sister, and then he took her, and I like
Abimelech. He's kind of been getting fucked over a little
bit. Abimelech's been pretty chill, right? And he's coming back into the fray here again. I won't spoil anything, but I will say, still seems like a pretty chill guy.
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll go through it mostly verbatim. I think test that out a little bit because these stories are not that long. Okay. But either way, so there was a famine in the land. Or you know what? What do you think? Read it all through, or just kind of abridge it here and there? What do you? I've highlighted significant seeming quotes.
How long is it?
It's okay. Chapter 26 goes all the way down to verse 34 on page 35 verses on page 1, and there is a page 2, chapter 27, which is 46 verses. So 81 verses there.
Let's just do the
little abridgment.
Let's abridge it, yeah.
All right, little abridgment. Okay, there we go. Okay, so there was a famine in the land besides the famine that the previous famine in Abraham's time, it says. So just famine across all of the land. Isaac goes to Gerar to speak to Abimelech.
Okay.
Still the king there. I wonder how old he is. Because, Abraham 6, and Sarah are both dead. Who goddamn knows? Could be, for all we fucking know. But the Lord appeared to Isaac and said, do not go down to Egypt. Live in the land where I tell you to live. Stay in this land for a while, and I will be with you and will bless you. For to you and your descendants I will give all these lands, and will confirm the oath I swore to your father Abraham. I will make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, and will give them all these lands. And through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed. Because Abraham obeyed me and did everything I required of him, keeping my commands, decrees, and my instructions. So God very specifically wants him to stay here in Gerar again, which seems a little relevant later. So when they first get there, Isaac pulls an Abraham and tells everybody that Rebecca is his fucking sister. Come on, guys. This is like the third time that they've done this.
This is a one-trick
it's
pony.
Not even the first time that they've done it to Abimelech. And he was cool. And he believes it again.
Been chill, man.
He's been chill the whole time. So, and it's for the exact same reason. He says it's because I think they'll kill me because of Rebecca.
Okay, that's interesting.
Why? I mean, I understand. I think I understand what they're getting at, and it's something along the lines of just, if you do have a beautiful wife, she will be coveted, and people might try to take you down in an attempt to get her. You know, I mean, I've experienced that. Most people have experienced that if they've been in a relationship, like some shit-eating little sideline guy trying to tear you down so that he can get with your girl.
Jordan, I was just listening to a podcast where Jordan Peterson's talking about someone like this, and someone referenced it as the sneaky raper. Jordan Peterson said it, not me. And like the guy who's like hanging around, like your girlfriend, like, oh, and when she's at, if you're in a fight or something, he'll be there when you guys are fighting, and be there to put a shoulder to rest on, and then sneaky, try to fucking sneak your way in there. Those people are.
Mm-hmm. And then take advantage of somebody when they're in an overly emotional state.
Yeah, disgusting snakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so that is not Abimelech. But what were you saying?
Right, Abimelech is not that guy.
Yeah, no, Abimelech
genuinely thinks he's getting, just a beautiful woman. Like, come.
Yeah, well, it's a sister. But anyway, after a while, Abimelech is looking out of one of his windows, I guess, and he sees Isaac and Rebekah together, and he caresses her. And even though this is apparently not okay behavior, according to all of the stories we've read, like, it's perfectly normal for a brother and sister to just be caressing each other. He's hey, stop it down there. That's not okay.
So all of a sudden,
some random person off in the distance who's also caressing his sister is just like, hey, you watch your mouth.
Hey, he's caressing his sister over there, and you didn't say anything. 6 stories back.
So's Farahai over there.
Yeah. But motherfucker, everyone's been caressing their sister, it seems like.
Yeah, but I guess it was in such a way that he realized, they're together. But anyway, it's still, he's like, she's actually your wife. Why'd you say she's your sister? And he goes, because I thought you guys might kill me because of her. And Abimelech is just the literal quote, what is this you have done to us? One of the men might well have slept with your wife, and you would have brought guilt upon us. He's literally saying, why would you do that? One of us might have unknowingly slept with another man's wife and then felt guilty about it because you lied to us. What the hell? And this has been his reaction every time. Yeah. Why didn't Abraham tell him about this interaction? So Abimelech gave orders to all of his people, quote, anyone who harms this man or his wife shall surely be put to death. So it's almost like he's still super respectful. Like Abimelech, so chill.
He's my favorite character in the Bible so far.
So far, he's been great. But Isaac planted crops in that land, and the same year reaped 100-fold because the Lord blessed him. The man became rich, and his wealth continued to grow until he became very wealthy. But he had so many flocks and herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. They became jealous. So all the wells that were dug whenever Abraham lived here previously had been filled in by the Philistines. Okay. Abimelech then said...
All the wells?
All of the wells.
Interesting.
Yeah. Which, that is... You'd think they'd, take them over as opposed to filling them.
That
but symbolically,
yeah.
Filling up all of the...
Holes?
Givers of life holes as well. Yeah. But were they related to those wells? Probably, if they were filling them in.
Hold on one second, I think. Oh, I'm not sure if I have the settings correct on this. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're all good.
Looking good. Looking sharp.
Oh, thanks, bud.
All right.
All right. Okay, so the Philistines get jealous. They fill up all of the wells. And then Abimelech says to Isaac, move away from us. You have become too powerful for us. So we'll get into it. Isaac moved away from there and encamped in the valley of Gerar, where he settled. And he starts reopening wells that the Philistines had blocked up. But as they were digging in the valley, they discovered a new well. But the herders of Gerar, some Philistine folk, come and quarrel with them over the well, and let's see, the herders of Gerar quarreled with those of Isaac and said the water. I wanted to say the well. The water is ours. So Isaac named the well Esek, which that means dispute. So he's still naming it. I don't know if that's just like, I don't know who gets the well. But because they disputed with him is why he named it that. Then they dug another well, and then the same thing happened again. So he named it Sitnah, which means opposition. So, yeah, just, again, pretty straightforward. Then they do a third well, and no one quarrels over this one, and so they call it Rehoboth, which means room. Like, he says, now the Lord has given us room, and we will flourish the land. So room as in, like, there's room for us, space. So, yeah. From there, he went to Beersheba, and the Lord appeared to him again and said, do not be afraid. I am with you. I will bless you and will increase the number of your descendants for the sake of my servant Abraham. So all of this is out of loyalty to Abraham's lifelong dedication to God. So then Isaac built an altar there, called on the name of the Lord, pitched his tent, servants dug a well. And then Abimelech comes with Ahuzath.
Sounds like someone saying something when they just burnt the roof. They have hot, something really hot.
Ahuzath. It's small writing, and I'm far away. I'm trying to stay closer to the microphone because I'm tired of fucking adjusting it. But he brings Azuz and Phicol, and Phical's the commander of, I guess, his armed forces, whatever. But Isaac asked him, like, why have you come to me since you were hostile to me and sent me away? Which, I mean, kind of fair enough. He did lie to them, but I don't know. We'll get into it. This story's almost over. Kind of ironic here. They said that they saw that the Lord was with him, so they're like, oh, he's tight with God, okay. And so we said, we ought to swear an agreement between us and this guy, because, I mean, he's literally got God with him.
Okay, these are Philistines?
Yeah, this is Abimelech and his people.
Okay.
Yeah, king of the Philistines and his closest advisors. So then he says, quote, let us make a treaty with you that you will do us no harm, just as we did not harm you, but always treated you well and sent you away peacefully, which, like, absolutely not true. You literally were like, you're getting too big for your britches, leave. And then every time they found water in the fucking desert, your people came and tried to take it.
Yeah.
Which, not very chill. It wasn't violent. You didn't harm. Well, I don't know. Depriving them of water could harm them. But, and now you are blessed by the Lord. So just again, reiterating, I mean, we did also realize that you're kind of tight with God. So, you know, that's kind of swaying us in this direction. He's pretty strong. That's what it seems like from the story standpoint. So then Isaac makes them a feast. They eat and drink, and then when they wake up the next morning, they swear the oath to each other. Then Isaac sends them on their way peacefully. And let's see, Isaac's servants came to him and told him about the well they dug. They said, we found water. He called it Sheba, and to this day the name of the town has been Beersheba. So Sheba means oath or seven, and Beersheba means well of the oath or well of the seven. Okay. So oath makes sense. I'm not sure why they would mention seven. What is
seven is symbolic of completeness, I think, in the Bible. But take a
symbolism of seven in the Bible, please. Excuse me. Okay, symbolizes perfection and completeness. Yep.
Nice. Fuck yeah.
Good job, Jack.
Felt good about that one.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're remembering stuff. I didn't even have to look up who Abimelech was. I was like, this is the same fucking guy they did this to with Abraham. What the hell?
Poor Abimelech.
Poor
man.
Abimelech. They keep risking cursing him for no reason. He's so chill.
Yeah, they've mentioned he's not been mentioned to be an evil person, a bad person.
No, not at all. He seemed very, very chill.
Pretty reasonable. Like
reasonable guy.
Hey, I don't want to have sex with your wife, man.
Yeah, every time.
Yeah.
Every time he finds out it's actually his wife, he's like, well, I wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
Why'd you tell me that?
Right.
But that's the story. Ultimately, Isaac is told by God, you need to stay here among Abimelech's people in Gerar. And they have a bit of a quarrel because Isaac pulls his dad move specifically, and says that Rebekah is his sister instead of just saying, this is my wife, Rebekah, because he fears that they will kill him.
Which, by the way, Abimelech has to be like fucking 150 by now because Abraham did that many years ago.
Yeah. He has to be extremely old at this point. Why are you still taking, like, well, how old is she at this point? 40? She was 40 when they gave birth to Jacob and Esau. So she's like 50 at this point.
Okay.
50 to 60, I think she would be.
And he's like 200?
He's got to be so old at this point. I mean, Abraham is gone.
Yeah.
And, I mean, as a king, Abraham was, I don't know if he was young, but I don't think he was particularly old when he first encountered Abimelech. So I imagine same age, or Abimelech may have been a bit older.
Sure.
He's got to be old as shit. I don't know how.
He's still out here piping.
He's still out here piping it down, dude. Or, probably being very careful about it since this keeps happening to him. But that happens. They realize that Isaac and Rebekah are actually married, and then Isaac begins to become strong, and the Philistines say, you're getting too strong, leave us. And then every time he tries to establish himself anywhere and they find water, the Philistines come along and say, no, we want this water. Basically just trying to make it difficult for him until eventually Isaac finds a place where they don't have any quarrels with Philistines over the well they find. And then Abimelech realizes that Isaac is actually convening with God, and then they make an oath of peace.
I think if you've been watching our videos, you'll probably find a theme where we're going to walk away with more questions than answers pretty much every time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Especially with just certain stories.
Yeah. Right.
Specific. I don't know if there's a specific theme to these kinds of stories. I don't know. The one.
Is that the end, or
that's the end of the story? Yeah.
Okay. Thoughts?
Well, on the note of, let's see, I'm just looking at what I've got highlighted, which is starting off with the sister lie, which we already talked about. I wonder how significant envy is in the fact that he was sent away from these people that he... Let's go back farther than that. Is it taking into account that it's like not chill for Isaac to be lying about this marriage when he first gets there and interacts with Abimelech? Like, do you think the Bible is at all recognizing that he shouldn't be doing that? Or are we to assume that he's totally justified in his belief?
Yeah. I like, my initial reaction is like, we're to assume that he's justified because like these are all people that we're following are called by God.
Yeah.
And God is, perfect in the Bible.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think we're to be taken away. But yeah, you make a valid point. I'm like, well, he keeps lying and he doing all these things. Like, I don't know what the fuck we're supposed to take from that, you know?
Yeah, and I have literally the exact same issue. It's like, yeah, that these are essentially, they're the main characters, and it keeps mentioning how they're walking forthrightly with God, and God is completely on their side.
Right.
So I assume that you're meant to assume they're doing everything that they're supposed to be doing, but they keep lying. And they keep being wrong about their assumption of why they need to lie.
Yeah, and their harm. Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're risking bringing harm upon these people with the lie. In one case, they did. They were cursed.
Right.
It made a bunch of women barren.
Right. That's fucking terrible.
That's horrible.
It's a horrible curse to put.
And I think they all had boils as well.
Oh, jeez.
Which just like double whammy. None of that was necessary.
That's like fucking Job. Like Job level shit.
Yeah. Why would you do that? So I have an issue with that bit. Not like an issue with it, but I'm confused by it.
Sure.
I think that the whole him being cautious about it just symbolizes what we talked about earlier, you know, the potential for people to covet your wife.
Yeah.
Which is a thing. Maybe it's just a plot element that he is taking it to this degree.
Yeah, yeah.
But, I mean, it's, again, we've talked about how hard it is to draw the line between this is just an element that was introduced because it's a story and there's something significant to be taken away from this line.
Right.
Where do you draw the line between the different verses?
Yep.
It's hard.
Virtually impossible.
Definitely for me.
Me as well.
I'm not that hashtag deep. Very interesting that Abimelech literally tells everybody that if anybody harms Isaac or Rebekah, I'll kill you.
Huh. Showing that he's a pretty good man. I mean, you know.
Repeatedly. And again, this has happened to him before.
Right. What, Go on.
No, I mean, that's all I was saying. This has happened to him before. Yeah. So it's literally the exact same scenario. I don't know how this never came up. There's not, I mean, surely these family members are speaking with each other on a regular basis. They don't have TV and probably even books to just zone out into.
They don't have books, yeah.
So, how did this story never come up? Where Abraham was like, yeah, I went and did this, in hindsight, kind of unnecessary thing.
Yeah, he's around the table, they're getting drunk. And then I fucking told that idiot that she was my sister. And everyone starts cracking up, and he slams his hand on the table like, ah!
Which she kind of was, but I mean, also, we were married.
Yeah. Right. So I got him on a technicality.
Not technically lying. Isaac is completely lying. That's I'm actually glad that came up because I hadn't thought of that. Like, this isn't even a lie of omission or a half-truth like with Abraham. This is a bold-faced lie. It's not his sister.
Half-truth, half-sister. Nice. I don't know. What do you think the significance of them filling up the wells is? Because, like, what is water symbolic of in the Bible?
I'll look that up specifically. I mean, I think a well. Let's look up symbolism of wells specifically.
Because a well is significant. Like, it brings life. It brings...
Which is my first idea, just generally speaking, life. Well is about more than water. It's the symbol of a thriving community, is what Gordon College.edu says. Speak of encounters with God. That is, supply and provision. I'm seeing essentially the answers that we came up with.
Okay.
Life, prosperity, and abundance.
Okay.
Yeah, so pretty the takeaways you would expect to get from a well. It's giving you water, and so it's symbolic of something that a bunch of people can convene around and survive. So I don't know if it's out of disdain for Abraham and his previous lie, maybe, or Because let me go back to where they filled in the wells specifically. So many flocks and herds and servants that the Philistines envied him. So all the wells that his father's servants had dug in the time of his father Abraham, the Philistines stopped up, filling them with earth. Okay, yeah, so they did it right then. So it may have just been a way of them to actually get them the hell out. Like, were they... Because did he settle back down? Did it say that he refilled those wells? Let's see. Dug another well. Lord has given us room to flourish. Went to Beersheba. Dug a new well.
Okay.
Let's see. So
I've got a couple thoughts about this now.
Yeah. So they refill in the wells. I think that's just I mean, if it's symbolic of anything, I think it might be pretty straightforward. Just, they're filling in their water supply and telling them to get the fuck out. We want you gone.
Yeah, I think there's a couple things that are coming up in my brain right now. One of them is later on in the Bible, there's a verse, do not cast pearls before swine, meaning don't try to help someone that isn't ready to be helped, essentially, or unwilling to be helped. And these wells are places of flourishment and prosperity, etc. And so, these people, the Philistines, are not ready for this. They aren't ready to be flourishing or be in proximity to flourishment.
Not ready as in they've deemed it that way themselves internally, or maybe that's the takeaway to get from them not being.
They aren't capable of accepting that into their lives yet.
Just generally flourishing.
Yeah,
Okay.
And I think people. There's a lot of people. AJ and I have been talking about this a lot. Like people with fixed mindsets. Like when you have a fixed mindset on certain things, you can't break out of it. No matter how much good advice comes your way or good things come your way, if you have a fixed mindset, you're not going to be open and able to receive that. And you kind of need to break away from that. That's one thought I have on this.
Do you have an example?
Yeah, like you've got a buddy or something, and you're giving them advice on, what their mindset should be going into work. And like this person's like complaining about work, and they show up late, and they're always complaining like, why am I not getting a raise? Why am I not getting a raise? And you can be like, well, you're not getting a raise because you show up and you don't show up on time, and you don't show up with a good personality and like trying to do your best. Like, of course they're not. And then they just go, yeah, but. And it's like,
as opposed
I just gave you the answer. I just gave you the answer as clear as day, but you're not capable of
taking that to heart.
Yeah. You could just, so that's like, yeah, that would be an example.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could see that relating to this.
And then
and I would agree with that 100%.
How do you like, and that's the difficult question about life. It's like, how do you, if you are that person that's showing up late and complaining and you don't realize these are the things that are holding you back from a raise or a promotion or whatever, like how the fuck do you break out of that?
Yeah, you can't improve if you're not capable of just realizing,
right,
this is where I have shortcomings, which everyone does, and there's no shame in that. Like everybody, there's room to improve for everybody.
Of course.
But especially if you're in a position where you're complaining about your job not giving you enough money, you definitely have room to improve in your station in life. If you're at that point, if you actually have legitimate, if you're living far beyond your means and you're like, I want an extra $3 million.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe at that point, if you've earned that, then sure. But, if you're genuinely at a point where you need more money just to get the basics covered, you have room to improve. You have ways that you can improve that, and it's probably related to your willingness to accept that.
Yeah, you can dig wells around these people all you want, but they will fill them up.
Yeah, it's like you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're just incapable of accepting like what is genuine wisdom that could help them.
Yeah.
Like, this is why you are having these issues that you're having.
Yep. And it takes self-awareness, and like some people don't have self-awareness, and they're just fucked. You know what I mean? Like those people are fucked, and they're doomed.
Yeah, unless they can find somebody that can just absolutely guide them until the point that they have some sort of self-awareness.
But who's willing to put that much time into someone?
Exactly.
You know?
It's so rare.
Yeah.
You have case studies, I think of Customato. Not to say that I know for a fact Mike Tyson didn't have self-awareness when he first got into boxing, but I'm sure that it was much less prominent than it is now because he's extremely self-aware now, but the way he's described his training with Coos when he was young was like he realized that I just had this killer inside of me and I needed to take that out of myself when I'm training, when I'm fighting. Like that's when it's appropriate to bring out that killer, and I need to hone in on that.
Yeah, he helped him cultivate his shadow. Properly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so if he didn't have the self-awareness to find some sort of controlled method for him to get that out, he could have ended up in a horrible place instead of being an extremely successful athlete.
Yep.
How many Customatos out there do you think there are?
There are not a lot.
Not a lot of them.
Not a lot.
But I absolutely agree. If you don't have self-awareness and you don't have some means of finding that, then you're doomed. Because how are you going to improve in any facet in your life if you don't have the ability to tell yourself, I need to improve here?
Yeah. Yeah. Like Jordan Peterson has been that guy online for a lot of people. Like he's probably helped a lot of people become self-aware. Just, but fuck, man. Yeah. So
myself included. Absolutely. Yeah. His lectures were huge for me because I was absolutely not self-aware at a certain point in my life. And it took a little like guidance to reach that point of realizing like I have flaws that need working on, which I'm sure to a certain extent most people have to some degree. Like you'll notice little things about yourself that you want to fit, but like genuine shit, like you're fucking off and wasting too much time, that kind of thing.
And then I had another thought on another potential thought. We've got about 5 minutes before we can just reset now. The other thought, maybe like, I don't know, you're becoming too powerful. I think like society, and not just him, but his community was becoming too powerful, I presume, to the Philistines. Like all great things will collapse at some point. They get too big, too powerful, like they become their own machine, like to I don't know.
Are you referring to Isaac's?
Yeah, like let's say the people that he are, like his people, let's say Isaac and his people are becoming too powerful. Like, let's say the American government like will implode on itself if it becomes too powerful, or the Roman Empire, imploded on itself. Which I think the Roman Empire also dissolved because they were fighting on too many fronts.
They overexpanded.
Yeah.
I mean,
but yeah. Overexpansion, like that. This could be a lesson towards that.
Could be. He does start a new community. Maybe it expands upon that by saying that you can rebuild after something like that happens. I don't know how thriving it was. I mean, it did say he became very powerful and had many flocks and herds, so I assume it was a very thriving community.
Yeah.
But I don't know why that would be uprooted when there was no mention of turmoil or anything going wrong.
Right. No confrontations or...
No confrontations and just no build up to overexpansion or anything like that, collapse by just becoming too big for what you can handle. It might be something about the fear of greatness by those people that are unable to take water from the wells.
Fear of greatness is very real in a lot of people.
And where do you think that comes from? Fear of being great? Is it more about the fear of the process, or is it actual fear of the greatness itself? Because I can understand fear of the process because it takes work. It's perfectly understandable to be intimidated by hard work, but just being great, is it a fear of responsibility? Is it a fear of, what is it a fear of?
That's a tough question. I mean, certainly the responsibility is part of that. I think when a lot of people imagine greatness, they imagine the end result and not all of the little micro steps it takes to get to that.
Which is why I think that fear of the process itself, because I'm thinking specifically these people that are not self-aware. Yeah. So people that aren't self-aware, are they thinking about the responsibility of greatness, or are they just thinking about the best aspects of being whatever they deem as great?
Bingo. I think that's it. But I have
so then where the hell does the fear come from?
Yeah.
Or is it a subconscious fear that where deep down inside some part of their conscience, wherever it is, buried deep down inside them, is trying to scream at them something along the lines of, it's gonna be tough, but you need to do this.
You have to do it. It's because I think I assume we're both on the same page. I know, speaking for myself, I want to be great, and I am afraid of that, and I would consider myself self-aware.
What part are you afraid of?
I don't know. That's
you don't know about yourself. Okay.
What am I the fear of? It's
is it part of the is the responsibility part of it for you?
I know, because not for me, because I understand that I'm gonna have to do all these steps.
You get it.
I get it,
and you've processed that and accepted that that's okay relative to greatness.
Yeah, definitely. It's not. There's not an in these steps. There's not an end goal for me. It's I will be doing the work for the rest of my life in one way or another, and I've accepted that.
Do you have a specific idea of how specific is your idea of greatness for you? As far as
yeah, I've got
financials, living situation, your level of exposure to the public, just everything, all encompassing. What is it?
Yeah, I'll give you my exact picture. It's not exposed to the public, extremely wealthy, and the leader of the community that I build, and that community will literally be a property off somewhere in the west, middle Missouri, and I will be giving opportunities to all of my friends, the people that I love, having built a literal village for the people in my life, and I will be the leader of that, and that is a form of greatness to me, and that's a very clear picture to me. And that's it's, you know what? I don't know if it's the fear of greatness or or I'm terrified that may never come.
So it's a combination of fear of the pursuit and fear of the pursuit not even being worth it.
Not worth it because let's say I didn't achieve it in this.
Exactly. Maybe not totally worthless, but not ultimately giving you what you wanted to get out of it, which I think from there you would just have to tell yourself any amount of progress is better than being stationary.
Yeah, because a Stoic principle that I am working on, but I wouldn't say I have mastered at all, but the work itself is the fulfillment, not the end goal, not the greatness. The greatness comes within the work itself.
Yeah, you have to find something that's fulfilling, and ultimately that's greatness as an end goal. Without that it's gonna be pretty tough to achieve, just because you're not going to enjoy getting there, and then once you get there, you're gonna be I spent the last 20 years hating everything, or at least not feeling genuinely fulfilled. So that I could get here, and now what?
Now what? And there's a lot of data to support people when someone builds up a company and then they sell their company, and they get all this money, they're depressed.
They're depressed. Yeah, that happened to, if I recall correctly, Notch, the creator of Minecraft. Whenever I can't remember if he sold it to Microsoft or whatever. You know, he was no longer the sole controller of everything. He, I remember a lot of people saying that he kind of got weird, and he said that he got depressed, but. Not weird necessarily in a bad way, but just behavior changed. And I think just expanding on, like, if you're not fulfilled with what you're doing, reaching that end goal, a big part of what's going to bring that "what do I do now" problem along is that you're not going to want to do what you've been doing. So if you find something fulfilling to do, even once you reach that end goal, you're going to want to keep doing it. So you're still you're just going to be in this situation that you've dreamed of and set up for yourself and still enjoying what you're doing, but now just in the ideal environment for yourself. Ultimate fulfillment. You know, you get to keep doing stuff that feels productive and fulfilling building up to this. And now you have it, and you still get to keep building and working.
Because the fulfillment is in the work,
Yeah,
totally. Totally.
Yeah.
What about you? Do you have like a outline of greatness for yourself?
It is literally very simple. As far as the end goal, it's essentially the exact same thing. I want a compound where I have enough space for people that I want close to me to be able to come and live in close proximity to each other and just removed from outside bullshit. My ideas were somewhere in like northern Missouri or just somewhere a more mountainous and slightly farther north for climate reasons. I'm tired of the goddamn heat and humidity. Either that or maybe somewhere in either way, somewhere in like a Colorado, but like a mountainous region out in the country, big piece of land where I can get a bunch of people that I want close to me. And, you know, more details into how that would be built and sustainable and all that shit. Yeah. But, ultimately the same thing. I'm sure we've talked about this before and how we have literally the exact same, like, ideal end scenario, even almost down to the location. Because I do want to get away from St. Louis, but I don't want to go far. Long term, you know, I want to do plenty of traveling, but I don't want to station like far away from my roots and my family and friends and all that.
General activity. Like there are things that in the city that I like to do, you know,
sure.
Like go to a fucking Cardinals game or whatever. Like
absolutely. Yeah. And I guess I meant more for like a change of scenery, you know, moving to someplace like Colorado where you're up in the actual mountains, you know.
I agree with you.
Just because, man, everything between Denver and Utah is just beautiful. Once you get past the mountain line and you're in the mountains, it's like so pretty. All the small towns out there are so nice. Anyway, but yeah, so that'd be the ideal living situation. Ideal exposure level, I don't know if I really have one. I mean, I think that a really fulfilling thing for me to do is content creation, which comes with some level of exposure, but like I'm okay with whatever level of exposure that would come with, whether it was none or a lot, because I mean, I'd prefer it be on the lower side. Superstardom would annoy the shit out of me. I'm not a crowd person, but you know, moderate amounts of exposure, I wouldn't have a problem with that. You know, I stream and I do put out content. We're putting out content right now. And I'm fine with that level of exposure, a moderately larger amount of exposure. It's not something I want or don't want, I guess. So that's not really a factor for me. That thought came into play when I was trying to think of like what are the most fulfilling things for me to do, which I guess is still something that I am thinking about. You know, I don't. What do you have a specific idea of what you want to do on your, you know, working process towards that community.
Yeah. The podcast game is part of it for sure. I'm just building up like a well-oiled machine of a company that produces meaningful podcasts for other people, not just myself or us.
Yeah.
Like thinking of the Sean Newman podcast.
Yeah. Great show. He does a good job of getting compelling people on.
Yeah, definitely. So that's part of the game, and then something around solving laziness, solving procrastination, solving fear, which like through the app that I'm having developed.
Which I'm looking forward to playing around with that once there's a version that I can use.
We've got a usable version for the phone right now, but to me it's useless until it gets onto the watch. Because just going in and out of my pocket to have to continually type it. Because my mindset around it, this is a tangent, but my mindset around it is like we make like in our heads we make 300 choices a day of like, oh, I could put the laundry away now. Like you walk past the laundry and like in your head it pops in like fold it and put it away now, or I'll do that later.
Yeah. And wait, just to tangents are perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the show.
Yeah, all right, cool. Yeah, that's become evident, hasn't it? But yeah, so anyway, we make like 300 of those choices a day. Mm-hmm. So pulling my phone out and doing it every time is going to be too much.
Yeah.
But if you just can tap it on your wrist. So I say all that to say once I have that.
Just type up or down.
Yeah. Then I think it'll become super useful.
Within the phone, don't you have more specific option where you have all of the things listed out, though?
Yeah.
I think that would still be useful for somebody that's, say, like at the desk all day.
Yeah.
That has a bunch of different, like you. I mean, you have a bunch of different computer work that needs to be done throughout the day. You have more than that, but that's a significant chunk of it. You know, you can have your phone out on your desk next to you.
Yeah.
I mean, and for myself personally, you know, I go from working in the morning on like just actual work to working on videos to studying to, you know, just like I'm constantly at my desk throughout the day.
Cool. I'll get you a usable version of it.
Cool. Yeah, I'd try it out if it's usable on Android.
Cool. Great. I will, let's do that.
Excellent. Yeah.
Okay. As far as we did go off on quite a journey, but I think a lot of what we talked about might be useful to some people.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, I don't want the show to purely be Bible talk, you know? I mean, straying away from that is kind of the whole idea. It's like, how do these stories relate to the real world? Because that's ultimately what we think the point is. It's not, you know, this is
Esau.
Bible story time where you're coming to church service.
Fucking Sunday school. It's not that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like, okay, they probably wanted us to take something away from it.
Yep.
What is that, and how can we relate that to the real world? Like, why is it useful?
Yep. And whether we get it or not, we have some decent thoughts around.
Yeah, as long as we can develop some sort of a back and forth that comes of these stories, even if we don't come away with any grandiose takeaways, I still think it's productive.
Yeah.
At least it definitely is for me.
I agree completely. Yeah.
So, yeah, I have no problem with tangents.
Okay. Cool. Do you want to finish this episode and then record a second so that we have the backup?
How long has this been, actually?
47.
40. Yeah, I'd say that's actually an episode. Yeah, so we'll transfer on over. We will be wearing the exact same thing next episode. See you, boys.
See you, boys.